Hello, dear listener. Welcome to Cloud Chronicles, where imagination drifts and stories unfold. Sit back, relax, and let the journey begin. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more soothing tales. The Whispering Stars. In a universe where planets sing and stars murmur ancient secrets, an interstellar traveler named Kael drifts through the void on the ship Somnara. The ship is no ordinary vessel, it's a sentient being, designed to lull its passengers to sleep by narrating the history of the galaxies it traverses. One night, as Kael lies under a dome of holographic constellations, Somnara begins a tale about a forgotten star cluster. These stars, it explains, were said to hold the memories of every civilization that ever was, their light a record of all stories, big and small. Kael's eyes grow heavy, lulled by the rhythmic hum of Somnara's voice. As sleep takes hold, Kael dreams of walking among these stars, each one whispering secrets that bring clarity, wonder, and peace. When Kael awakens, Somnara reveals that the dream was more than just imagination. It was a way to tap into the lingering echoes of forgotten worlds. Kael's ship, Somnara, is not just a storyteller, it's an ancient construct imbued with the wisdom of a bygone civilization, a species that communicated entirely through song and dream. It journeys across galaxies, seeking out lost knowledge and unraveling secrets locked in the fabric of the cosmos. Each night, Somnara weaves Kael's dreams into a shared tapestry, where the traveler and the ship merge thoughts. One evening, Somnara guides Kael to a distant nebula bathed in hues of shimmering amethyst and cobalt, the Veil of Echoes. As Kael gazes at its beauty, the ship murmurs of the cluster hidden within, the same one that cradles the memories of civilizations. But there's more. The Veil of Echoes is also the resting place of the Duskin Key, an object said to unlock the deepest connection to these stellar whispers. This key doesn't merely allow one to dream, it grants access to the living histories, where past and present fuse and dormant stories awaken. In the dreamscape, Kael finds himself surrounded by starlit beings who appear translucent and ever-shifting, their forms flowing like smoke. They explain that the cluster's light does more than record, it protects the essence of those long gone, ensuring their wisdom survives time's erosion. But their light grows dim, and only the Duskin Key can reignite the star's vitality, preserving the cosmic archive. Kael awakens with an inexplicable sense of duty. As Somnara hums softly, the ship confides that the Veil of Echoes can only be reached by those who dream with sincerity and purpose. Together, they prepare for a journey that will test the limits of Kael's resolve and reshape their understanding of existence itself. As Kael approaches the Veil of Echoes aboard Somnara, the ship slows, its hum shifting into a melody that resonates with the nebula ahead. The shimmering amethyst clouds part like curtains, revealing the star cluster cradled within, a constellation of light that pulses gently as though alive. Each star is unique, some blazing white with energy, others flickering faintly like candles on the verge of extinguishing. Somnara projects Kael into the dreamscape to make contact, its voice guiding the way. In this realm, the stars are not distant specks but towering figures of light, their forms rippling with energy. As Kael reaches out, the nearest star being speaks not in words, but in a cascade of sensations, warmth, longing, and echoes of laughter long past. The being is the memory of a poet from a long-lost civilization, its essence preserved for eternity. Kael learns that each star being guards a fragment of its people's history, but the memories are incomplete. Over eons, the cluster's light is dimmed, scattering pieces of its knowledge across the cosmos. To restore its brilliance, Kael must journey further into the cluster, gathering the shards of memory housed in dormant celestial bodies nearby. These fragments manifest as glimmers of starlight that pulse faintly in the dreamscape. However, Kael's interactions reveal more than just history. The star beings whisper warnings of a force that seeks to extinguish their light entirely. This shadow, a remnant of entropy itself, spreads like a slow tide, unraveling the star's essence and turning them into empty husks. Time is running out, and Kael's choices will determine whether the whispers of the cluster will survive or fade forever. As Kael moves deeper into the dreamscape, guided by the poet star and Somnara's song, they encounter fragments that challenge their perception of time. One memory reveals a city built entirely of light, where beings lived outside linear time, experiencing all moments simultaneously. Another fragment shows a lone figure standing under two suns, their shadow impossibly stretched, a mystery even the stars cannot explain. Through these encounters, Kael pieces together a deeper truth. The Duskin Key is not merely an object, but a living thread, binding the cluster's stories together. To wield it, Kael must embrace not just the memories of others, but their own hidden fears and dreams. As Kael ventures deeper into the dreamscape, Somnara orchestrates a symphony of light and sound, weaving Kael's presence into the star's memory. The first star being Kael meets is the Chronicle Weaver, whose light shifts in hues of violet and gold. It reveals fragments of its civilization, a society that thrived on weaving time into tangible fabrics. These chronofabrics allowed its people to revisit moments as one would reread a favorite book. As Kael touches its luminous form, the Chronicle Weaver transmits a memory of its people's final moments, a cosmic storm tearing through their fabric cities, unraveling their timeline and leaving the cluster bereft of their legacy. Next, Kael encounters the Shadow Luminary, a dimly flickering star being whose light casts curious patterns against the void. Its whispers resonate like hushed winds, speaking of a civilization that existed in harmony with the shadow, a concept they revered as an extension of themselves. The Luminary's memory shares the story of their decline, where their own fear of being swallowed by the shadow led to the unraveling of their trust and community. Kael feels the weight of their longing, a yearning to restore balance between light and shadow. The most enigmatic of all is the Eclipser, a star being that pulses like a heartbeat, its surface marbled with streaks of black and white. The Eclipser is both light and void, representing a civilization that lived in cycles of creation and destruction, embracing impermanence as their guiding truth. Kael is drawn into a vivid fragment, a city on the brink of collapse, where its inhabitants gather not in panic, but in celebration of the birth of new light. The Eclipser reveals that their philosophy influenced the creation of the Duskin Key, embedding the principle of transformation into its very core. Through these encounters, Kael learns that each fragment of memory holds a piece of the star cluster's essence. Yet, Kael notices a growing unease among the star beings, a shadowy tendril that coils tighter around the cluster. They plead with Kael to find the Duskin key before the shadow consumes their stories entirely. As Kael spends more time within the dreamscape, fragments of memory begin to warp. Visions of laughter and unity dissolve into whispers of fear and despair, as if the shadows buried in the histories are clawing their way to the surface. Somnara detects disruptions in the dream flow, its once serene song now tinged with discordant notes. It warns Kael that the shadow is more than a void. It is an entity, a residue of entropy born from the collapse of forgotten worlds. The star beings refer to this force as Nismar, the Unweaver, a being that devours stories and unravels light into nothingness. It is neither malicious nor kind. It simply exists as the opposite of memory and creation. Over eons, as civilizations perished and their stories dimmed, Nismar gathered strength from the void left behind. The brighter the light, the more alluring its pull, and the star cluster, with its treasures of living memories, has become its inevitable target. Kael encounters Nismar's essence for the first time in a fractured memory, a vivid scene of a sprawling city glimmering with bioluminescent architecture. At its center, a dome pulsates with a radiant heart, a record of the city's collective consciousness. But the memory splinters as the dome shatters, the light collapsing inward, swallowed by tendrils of darkness. Kael feels Nismar's presence, a cold, consuming pull that drains vitality and emotion. The shadow manifests not as a single form, but as ever-shifting, rippling specters, each resembling faces and forms from the cluster's past civilizations. It uses the echoes of lost memories to confuse and disarm Kael, forcing them to question whether the stories they're trying to save are even worth preserving. Through these encounters, Kael glimpses Nismar's nature. It thrives not only on forgotten stories, but on the doubt and despair that arise when the guardians of those stories falter. Somnara intervenes, its voice rising against the shadow, countering Nismar's whispers with songs of hope. It reminds Kael that the star's light is not just history, it's a beacon for the future. Empowered by this insight, Kael realizes that Nismar can't be destroyed. It is an intrinsic part of the universe. However, its influence can be countered by weaving the scattered fragments of memory into a cohesive whole. The more complete the cluster's stories, the less power Nismar holds over them. This revelation pushes Kael to seek the Duskin key, which now seems not just a tool, but a test. To wield its power, Kael must confront their own shadow, the doubts and fears that have haunted them since the beginning of their journey. Only by embracing the light and dark within can Kael hope to preserve the star's whispers from unraveling. Long before the star cluster became a repository of memories, the universe pulsed with an unbridled dance of creation and destruction. Amid this chaos, a primordial event took place, the collapse of an ancient supercluster of galaxies, a catastrophic moment where countless civilizations, their stories, and even the very light they emitted were obliterated. From this vast annihilation, a new kind of presence emerged, born not of matter, but of absence, Nismar, the Unweaver. Nismar was not conscious in the way living beings understand. It did not think, feel, or act with intent. It was the embodiment of what was lost, a shadow formed from the void left by collapsing worlds. Over time, as it fed on the echoes of forgotten civilizations, Nismar developed a kind of awareness, defined entirely by its hunger to consume and unmake. It was drawn to the brightest lights and the richest memories, as these carried the most potential for unraveling. The Veil of Echoes, with its star cluster brimming with living memories, became a target over countless eons. But Nismar's origin story is more entangled with the cluster than Kael initially suspects. The stars themselves whisper a forgotten truth. In the earliest days of their creation, the cluster was deliberately designed by a species known as the Luminarchs, beings who existed in harmony with time and light. They sought to preserve not just their civilization but all civilizations, creating stars that would act as eternal vessels for memories. But even the Luminarchs were not immune to doubt. In their fear of losing the light they had created, they sought to contain Nismar, using their mastery of temporal weaving to bind it to the fabric of their stars. This act of binding kept Nismar at bay, but it came at a terrible cost. The Luminarchs themselves were consumed by their creation, leaving behind only traces of their existence. The Duskin Key, forged from the last threads of their chronofabric, was left as a safeguard, a means to unlock the full potential of the cluster's light and hold Nismar in eternal balance. As Kael learns of this history through fragmented visions, they begin to see the parallels between the Luminarchs' fear and their own doubts. Nismar, after all, is not purely external. It is a reflection of the uncertainty, loss, and entropy that exists within every being. The more Kael uncovers, the more they realize that the battle against Nismar is not about destruction but acceptance. To preserve the cluster, Kael must find a way to reconcile creation and loss, light and shadow, ensuring that Nismar remains part of the story without consuming it entirely. Kael's heart feels heavy as they process the revelation of Nismar's origins and the Luminarch's sacrifices. The dreamscape trembles under the weight of conflicting energies, the vibrant light of the cluster's stories, and the encroaching shadow of Nismar. Every step Kael takes further into the cluster feels like walking a tightrope between hope and despair. The star being's whispers grow more desperate, their flickering light dimming with every passing moment. Somnara, sensing Kael's turmoil, sings a softer melody now, a hymn of courage and clarity. It reminds Kael of their own story, urging them to recall why they embarked on this journey. Yet Kael struggles with their doubts. What if the stories are too fractured to save? What if their choices only delay the inevitable? The shadow thrives on these cracks in Kael's resolve, weaving illusions of failure and isolation. But amidst the uncertainty, Kael finds strength in the fragments they've gathered. Each memory, whether joyous or sorrowful, reminds them of the resilience of life. They recall the Chronicle Weaver's final act, preserving its people's timeline even as their cities unraveled. They think of the Shadow Luminary's lesson in embracing balance and the Eclipser's celebration of impermanence. These stories resonate within Kael, forming a mosaic of light and shadow, of loss and renewal. As Kael prepares to locate the Duskin Key, they must confront their own shadow, the doubts that have whispered in the back of their minds since the beginning. Somnara guides them to the heart of the Veil of Echoes, where the dreamscape blurs into reality. Here, the Duskin Key lies waiting, its form shifting between a radiant thread and a luminous star. To claim it, Kael must relinquish their fear and accept the truth of what Nismar represents, not as an enemy, but as a necessary force in the universe's cycle. Kael's confrontation with Nismar is not a battle of destruction, but an act of weaving. As they stand before the shadowy tendrils, they begin to stitch the gathered fragments into a cohesive tapestry, one that shines with the combined light of the cluster's stories. The act of weaving binds creation and entropy together, stabilizing the cluster and diminishing Nismar's hunger. The shadow retreats, not because it is defeated, but because it is integrated, a part of the story, but no longer an unrelenting threat. In the end, Kael feels a profound sense of connection, not just to the star cluster, but to the greater universe. They understand that preservation is not about clinging to light or banishing shadow, but about embracing the balance between them. As Somnara hums its final notes of the journey, Kael gazes at the revitalized stars of the cluster, their light a testament to resilience and unity. As Kael weaves the star cluster's fragmented memories into a unified tapestry, the process stirs something deep within. Each fragment, each story, acts as a mirror, reflecting pieces of their own life they had long buried. As Kael weaves the star cluster's fragmented memories into a unified tapestry, the process stirs something deep within. Each fragment, each story, acts as a mirror, reflecting pieces of their own life they had long buried. The struggles and triumphs of the Chronicle Weaver, the Shadow Luminary, and the Eclipser resonate not just as distant echoes, but as allegories of Kael's own fears and aspirations. Kael recalls the day they first boarded Somnara. Driven by a thirst for discovery, they believed their journey would be about uncovering external mysteries. Yet now, standing at the heart of the Veil of Echoes, they realize the journey has always been inward. Each interaction with the star beings has unraveled the walls they built around their own vulnerabilities. The moments of doubt they shared with Nismar, the whispers of failure and fear, were not the shadow's manipulation alone, but reflections of Kael's own inner conflicts. One fragment of memory, gifted by the Shadow Luminary, becomes a turning point. It reveals a scene of a solitary figure walking through rain-soaked streets, their shadow stretching impossibly long beneath twin moons. The image strikes a chord within Kael, evoking memories of nights spent wondering if their pursuits were meaningful, if the stories they sought were worth the sacrifices they made to uncover them. In that moment, Kael recognizes the connection between light and shadow, not as opposing forces, but as two halves of the same whole. Embracing this truth, Kael begins to let go of their fear of failure. They see that the act of preservation is not about achieving perfection, but about accepting imperfection, about holding space for both the light and the shadow within every story, including their own. This realization imbues Kael's weaving with newfound clarity and purpose, the threads of memory glowing brighter as they intertwine. As the tapestry nears completion, Kael feels a profound shift within. They are no longer the same traveler who boarded Somnara. Their confidence now stems not from the absence of doubt, but from the courage to face it head-on. They understand that the essence of storytelling, of life itself, is its balance between creation and entropy, between the stories that illuminate and the shadows that deepen their meaning. In the final moments of the weaving, Kael reaches the last fragment, a memory of the Luminarchs as they crafted the star cluster and forged the Duskin key. The memory reveals their final words: "Let the stars sing, let the shadows whisper, and let those who come after us weave the light anew. Kael feels their resolve solidify, their transformation complete. They are ready not to destroy the shadow, but to integrate it, ensuring that Nismar becomes part of the story without overshadowing it. When the tapestry is finished, Kael steps back, their own light glowing faintly within the dreamscape. The star beings shine brighter, their whispers resonating with gratitude and hope. Somnara hums a song of completion, its melody a testament to Kael's journey and the resilience of the stars. The Luminarchs were not ordinary beings. They were dream weavers of cosmic proportions, existing in a state of transcendence that bridged the material and ethereal realms. Their mastery of time and light allowed them to perceive the universe not as a linear progression, but as a symphony of interconnected moments. To them, light was memory and shadow was its silent guardian, ensuring balance within the grand design. The star cluster was their magnum opus, crafted during a time when entropy loomed large across the cosmos. As civilizations perished, their stories and wisdom were often lost to the void, a fate the Luminarchs sought to counteract. Through an extraordinary feat of cosmic engineering, they forged the star cluster as a sanctuary, embedding fragments of these lost civilizations into stars that would preserve their essence for eternity. Each star became a living repository, not just of memories, but of emotions, philosophies, and dreams, a vibrant archive of existence itself. However, the Luminarchs were acutely aware of the fragility of light. They understood that preservation alone was not enough. There must be a mechanism to embrace the inevitable ebb and flow of creation and entropy. Thus, they wove the Duskin Key. Unlike any physical object, the key was crafted from strands of chronofabric, infused with the principles of transformation and balance. It was designed as more than a tool, it was a test of character, intended to be wielded by those who could navigate the delicate interplay of light and shadow. The Duskin Key was also the Luminarch's safeguard against Nismar, the Unweaver. They knew entropy could not be vanquished, but it could be harmonized. By embedding the key's essence into the cluster's stars, they created a counterbalance, ensuring that even if Nismar encroached, the light would not be entirely consumed. Yet this act of binding came at a price. The Luminarchs themselves became part of the fabric of the cluster, their existence woven into its stars, their voices now faint whispers within the dreamscape. As Kael learns of the Luminarch's legacy through fragmented memories, they realize that the Duskin Key is not just a solution, it is the Luminarch's final lesson. It embodies their belief that the cycle of creation and destruction is not a flaw but a feature of existence. By wielding the key, Kael must embrace the same truth the Luminarchs held dear, that preservation is not about resisting entropy, but about weaving light and shadow into a balanced and unified whole. The Luminarchs' sacrifice ensures that their teachings endure, offering guidance to those like Kael who seek to preserve the cluster's light. Their voices whisper through the stars, the light is only as strong as the shadow that shapes it. Let them dance. As Kael departs from the Vale of Echoes, the completed tapestry glowing faintly in their mind's eye, they feel a profound change within. The stars' whispers, once fractured and desperate, now form a cohesive symphony of memories that echo with resilience, loss, and transformation. Somnara's melody intertwines with these whispers, creating a harmony that fills the void of the dreamscape with a sense of renewed purpose. This wisdom manifests in Kael's outlook as they move forward. They begin to view their role not just as a traveler or seeker of knowledge, but as a weaver in their own right. The lessons of the Luminarchs reshape their understanding of storytelling. It is not merely about preserving the past, but about allowing the light of memory to coexist with the shadow of entropy, creating a balanced narrative that embraces impermanence. Kael's integration of this wisdom is put to the test as they approach their next destination, a region of space known as the Crescent Abyss. This area is infamous for its unstable energy fields and the presence of echoes, faint remnants of civilizations that never fully formed. As Kael encounters these fragile whispers, they feel the pull of Nismar's lingering presence, subtle but undeniable. The Abyss is a place where light struggles to take root, and Kael realizes that their newly acquired perspective will be crucial. Instead of trying to restore or save every echo they encounter, Kael learns to listen, to honor the fragments for what they are, without imposing their own need for completeness. They weave small strands of their own memories into the echoes, creating connections that stabilize them without erasing their unique essence. In doing so, Kael embodies the Luminarch's philosophy of balance, ensuring that the Crescent Abyss becomes not a graveyard of failed stories, but a place where potential and legacy coexist. Through this process, Kael's understanding of the Duskin Key deepens. They recognize that the key is not merely a tool for resolving crises, but a reminder of the choices that define their journey. Each time they wield its power, they are faced with the question, what will you weave into the fabric of existence? This question becomes a guiding principle, prompting Kael to approach every encounter, whether with star beings, forgotten echoes, or the ever-present shadow, with humility and intention. As Somnara guides Kael further into the cosmos, the ship's song evolves, reflecting Kael's transformation. The melody carries notes of light and shadow, joy and sorrow, embodying the harmony Kael now strives to maintain. Together, traveler and ship become more than explorers. They become custodians of the balance, ensuring that the stories they encounter are not just preserved, but allowed to grow, change, and inspire. Kael's journey is far from over, but the integration of the Luminarch's wisdom ensures that every step forward is rooted in purpose. The veil of echoes fades into the distance, yet its light continues to shine within Kael, a beacon for the path ahead. One of Kael's first destinations after the Veil of Echoes is the Crystalline Abyss, a sprawling network of drifting shards that glimmer like stars yet contain no light of their own. Each shard is a remnant of an ancient supernova, a celestial explosion that scattered not just matter, but the collective memories of its long-vanished inhabitants. Here, Kael must navigate the labyrinth and fragments, piecing together these fractured memories to uncover the story of the civilization that once thrived near this star. In the Abyss, Kael encounters the Shardborn, enigmatic beings who emerge from the remnants of the supernova. Their translucent forms pulse with traces of memories, but they lack clarity and coherence, existing in a state of perpetual confusion. As Kael weaves new threads into their fragmented consciousness, the Shardborn begin to stabilize, their whispers merging into a song of unity. However, Kael soon discovers that the Abyss is unstable. Nismar's subtle tendrils linger, unraveling the memories faster than Kael can weave them. To preserve what remains, Kael must decide which fragments to bind and which to let fade, a choice that challenges their understanding of what is worth saving. Here, the lessons of balance and impermanence from the Veil of Echoes are critical, as Kael learns to honor what cannot be preserved without succumbing to despair. The Songless Void. Further into their journey, Kael ventures into the Songless Void, a desolate expanse where no sound or light can exist naturally. The void is a stark contrast to the vibrant whispers of the Veil and the crystalline abyss. It is a place where Nismar's influence is at its strongest, and even the Duskin Key dims when brought into this realm. Within the void, Kael encounters the Silent Pilgrims, beings who appear as shimmering outlines against the dark. They communicate not through sound, but through pulses of emotion and memory. The pilgrims reveal that they have wandered the void for millennia, preserving fragments of their once vivid culture by embedding them into their very being. However, their essence is fading, and they seek Kael's help to bring their stories back to the universe. Guided by Somnara's faint hum, Kael taps into the Duskin Key to illuminate the void temporarily, allowing the pilgrims' memories to unfold like stars. In doing so, Kael discovers that the pilgrim civilization was one of explorers who dared to venture too far into the unknown, losing their physical forms but gaining a profound understanding of the cosmos. The encounter challenges Kael to confront their own fears of venturing into the unknown and deepens their resolve to balance curiosity with caution. The Nexus of Renewal. In the final chapter of this leg of their journey, Kael is drawn to a region known as the Nexus of Renewal, a pulsating anomaly where stars are born in bursts of raw, chaotic energy. The Nexus is teeming with potential, but also danger, as the sheer force of creation threatens to destabilize any who venture too close. Here, Kael encounters the Astral Weavers, beings born within the Nexus who exist solely to shape raw energy into stable forms. The Weavers recognize Kael as a fellow creator and offer to teach them the art of astral weaving. This mentorship becomes a pivotal moment for Kael, as they learn to apply the principles of light and shadow on a cosmic scale, shaping not just memories but new possibilities. However, Kael's presence in the Nexus awakens an ancient fragment of Nismar, buried deep within its core. The fragment is not hostile but seeks to disrupt the natural balance of the Nexus, forcing Kael to confront their understanding of creation and destruction once more. By weaving a delicate balance within the Nexus, Kael not only stabilizes the anomaly but gains a deeper mastery of the Duskin Key. Kael's journey brings them to Larnus, a planet veiled in perpetual twilight, where the horizon gleams with shades of copper and sapphire. Larnus is known for its vast fields of bioluminescent flora and towering crystalline spires that hum faintly as they catch the planet's gentle winds. It's a world steeped in secrets, its light and shadow coexisting in delicate harmony, an echo of Kael's own inner transformation. While exploring the crystalline spires, Kael's thoughts drift to their past, to a simpler time before cosmic voyages and star clusters. The memories feel distant yet comforting, like whispers of an old song. Somnara hums a melody that resonates with Kael's nostalgia, guiding them toward a settlement nestled at the base of the spires. As Kael enters the settlement, they sense an unmistakable presence, the warmth of familiarity in a place so alien. Among the shimmering structures, a figure emerges, Rin, Kael's childhood friend. The sight of Rin, unchanged in spirit but matured by time, sends Kael's heart soaring. Rin's smile is as bright as Kael remembers, yet there's a depth in their gaze that speaks of journeys untold. Rin reveals that they too have traversed the stars, drawn to Larnus by whispers of its bioluminescent flora, which are said to hold fragments of dreams. They explain that the flora can project memories into the minds of those who touch them, allowing visitors to experience long-lost moments. Rin has been studying these phenomena, hoping to unlock their secrets and preserve the fleeting dreams for generations to come. The reunion becomes a deeply reflective moment for Kael. As the two friends recount their individual journeys, Kael realizes how their shared childhood curiosity has shaped their paths. They reminisce about star maps drawn on scraps of paper, nights spent imagining the cosmos, and promises to uncover its mysteries together. Though they took different routes, their dreams have brought them to the same place, a testament to the bonds that transcend time and space. Kael joins Rin in exploring the bioluminescent fields, where the flora emits pulses of light in response to touch. Kael reaches out to one of the glowing plants and feels a memory surface, a fleeting image of their younger self and Rin gazing at the stars, dreaming of worlds unknown. Tears well up as Kael experiences the purity of that moment, untouched by the doubts and shadows that have since accompanied them. Through this encounter, Kael learns that Larnus itself is a place of balance, a living testament to the harmony of light and shadow. With Rin's help, Kael begins to see how their journeys, though unique, complement each other. Together, they decide to weave the dreams of Larnus into a new tapestry, one that honors their shared past while embracing the wisdom they've gained. As Kael prepares to depart, Rin gives them a small vial containing the essence of the bioluminescent flora, a tangible reminder of the dreams they've rediscovered. Though their paths diverge once more, Kael knows the connection they share will always shine, a steady beacon in the vastness of the cosmos. For Rin, the sight of Kael feels like a fragment of a dream brought to life. Their paths had diverged so long ago that Rin often wondered if their friendship existed only in the shimmering haze of childhood memories. When the stars called them to Larnus, it was not just curiosity about the planet's luminous flora, but also an unspoken longing to understand their own journey, a journey shaped by the same restless wonder that defined their bond with Kael. On Larnus, Rin found peace in the quiet rhythm of the bioluminescent fields, yet they couldn't help but feel the ache of something unresolved. The flora's dreamlike projections of fragmented memories stirred something deeper, a reminder of the childlike wonder they had shared with Kael and the unfulfilled promise to explore the cosmos together. Rin hadn't realized how much they missed Kael until this very moment, standing face to face in the twilight glow of the settlement. As they share stories of their respective journeys, Rin marvels at Kael's transformation. The Kael they once knew was an eager dreamer, brimming with ideas but uncertain of their place in the world. The Kael before them now carries an aura of quiet strength, their presence shaped by the trials and revelations of the cosmos. Yet, Rin also senses a lingering shadow in their friend, an echo of doubt and loss that mirrors their own struggles. Rin's research into the flora of Larnus had always been about more than science or discovery. It was an attempt to weave meaning into the fragments of their own story. Now, with Kael beside them, Rin sees an opportunity not just to share that meaning, but to co-create something greater. The bioluminescent flora, with its ability to project dreams and memories, becomes a bridge between their past and present, a canvas for their intertwined legacies. Kael's journey moving forward. The meeting with Rin has a profound impact on Kael, infusing their journey with newfound clarity and emotional grounding. Until now, Kael's path had been shaped by external mysteries, the Veil of Echoes, the crystalline abyss, the songless void, but this reunion forces them to confront the internal mysteries of connection, memory, and belonging. The vial of bioluminescent essence that Rin gifts to Kael becomes a treasured artifact, a luminous reminder of their shared history. Kael begins to carry it with them, often holding it during moments of doubt as a symbol of resilience and shared purpose. The glow of the vial serves as a quiet reassurance, a tether to the bond that rekindled their sense of self. Kael also finds inspiration in Rin's work with the flora, leading them to adopt a more introspective approach to their explorations. The idea of weaving meaning from fragments resonates deeply, and Kael begins to integrate this philosophy into their encounters. When they next face echoes, star beings, or even remnants of Nismar's shadow, Kael approaches not just as a preserver but as a storyteller, someone who connects pieces of the past to create a more harmonious whole. Their time on Larnus also stirs Kael's curiosity about the planets and people they once left behind. What other connections might await them in the uncharted stars? This shift in perspective transforms Kael's journey from one of solitary discovery to one of shared exploration, where each encounter carries the potential to rekindle old bonds or forge new ones. Lastly, Kael recognizes the importance of returning to Larnus one day. Though their paths diverge once more, Rin's presence leaves an indelible mark on Kael's heart. The promise to reunite, this time under the bioluminescent glow of the flora rather than the childhood stars, gives Kael a renewed sense of purpose. They carry with them not just memories, but the understanding that the cosmos, vast and endless, still has room for connection and love. The Celestial Nexus. Drawn by whispers of rebirth and untamed energy, Kael approaches the Celestial Nexus aboard Somnara. The ship hums a melody of awe as its sensors detect streams of glowing energy weaving through the galactic void, a celestial river birthing stars, nebulae, and the faint beginnings of life. The sight is overwhelming, and Kael can feel the hum of creation reverberating through their very being. As Somnara draws closer, Kael notices a solitary vessel drifting gracefully along the currents of the Nexus. The vessel's design is unmistakable, a blend of sleek engineering and artistry that could only belong to Rin. Kael's heart quickens as memories of their last meeting on Larnus resurface, a mix of nostalgia and wonder blending with the present. Moments later, a familiar voice crackles through Somnara's comms. Kael? Rin's tone is warm, laced with disbelief and joy. I was hoping the currents would bring you here. Kael smiles, their reply almost a whisper. Rin, it seems the Nexus wanted this reunion as much as we did. Rin invites Kael to dock alongside their vessel, and the two meet aboard Somnara, their reunion as heartfelt as their first encounter on Larnus. They exchange stories of their travels, Kael's encounters with echoes and fragments of memory, Rin's continued study of the bioluminescent flora and its connections to cosmic energy. Both marvel at the serendipity that brought them together once more. The Nexus, though awe-inspiring, is also unstable. Its surging energies threaten to unravel a forming star at its core, a star that holds the promise of birthing a new planetary system. Kael and Rin decide to work together to stabilize the star, their combined skills and perspectives proving essential. As they navigate the currents, Rin reveals their latest discovery, traces of the bioluminescent flora's energy lingering within the Nexus. This energy, they believe, can be harnessed to weave stability into the star's chaotic core. Kael, drawing on their experiences with the Duskin Key and the lessons of balance learned from the Veil of Echoes, suggests using the Nexus's own energy streams to create a stabilizing weave. The task is both physically and emotionally demanding. The Nexus challenges them with bursts of raw energy that threaten to overwhelm their ships, and Nismar's shadow lingers faintly, a reminder of entropy's ever-present pull. Yet Kael and Rin draw strength from one another, their shared memories and unwavering trust forming an unbreakable bond. Together, they channel the Nexus's energy into a harmonious weave, stabilizing the forming star and securing its future. The Nexus's gift. As the star begins to shine steadily, the Nexus responds to their efforts with a radiant display of light and sound, a cosmic symphony of gratitude. Within this spectacle, Kael and Rin experience a shared vision, a glimpse into the star's future as it brings life and light to a distant corner of the universe. They see a flourishing world, its skies painted with auroras that echo the Nexus's currents, its surface teeming with beings who will one day look to the stars and wonder about their origins. The vision leaves Kael and Rin humbled yet inspired. They realize that their journeys, though shaped by the past, are equally about creating futures, whether through preserving memories, stabilizing stars, or inspiring others to dream. The Nexus has not only tested their resolve but has also deepened their bond, transforming their shared story into something greater than either could have imagined. Before parting ways once more, Kael and Rin make a quiet promise to meet again, not by chance, but by intention. The universe is vast, but their connection is a thread that spans its infinite expanse. The Star's Symphony. As the newly stabilized star begins its radiant emergence, the currents of the Celestial Nexus intensify, wrapping Kael and Rin in waves of light and sound. The energy streams seem to dance in celebration, their colors shifting from deep cerulean to vibrant gold, as though the universe itself is acknowledging their triumph. The atmosphere is unlike anything they've ever experienced, a palpable harmony of creation, where every burst of light carries a gentle hum and every ripple of energy feels like a heartbeat. Kael closes their eyes, letting the resonance flow through them. They feel the Nexus's currents not just as physical phenomena, but as whispers of possibility, an invitation to dream, to imagine futures shaped by their actions. Rin, standing beside them, extends a hand to the nearest energy stream, marveling as it bends and twists in response, forming ephemeral shapes that flicker like constellations. For a moment, they are not explorers or weavers, they are simply two friends, united in awe and wonder. The vision unfolds. The shared vision of the star's future begins to unfold more vividly. Kael and Rin see themselves standing on the surface of the world birthed by their efforts. Its landscapes are breathtaking, filled with shimmering forests where the leaves glisten like liquid starlight, rivers that run with hues of amber and silver, and skies that ripple with auroras reflecting the Nexus's streams. They watch as this world becomes home to beings born from the star's light, their forms both radiant and grounded, embodying the balance Kael and Rin have fought to preserve. But the vision doesn't stop there. The beings of this new world look up at the stars, and Kael and Rin see glimpses of themselves in their creations, in the stories the beings will tell, in the artifacts they will forge, and in the whispers that will travel through the cosmos. The realization is both humbling and profound. Their actions here will ripple far beyond their own lives, shaping destinies in ways they cannot fully comprehend. Rin turns to Kael, their voice soft but resolute. "It's beautiful, Kael. And it's a reminder that even the smallest threads we weave can create something immeasurable." Kael nods, the warmth of Rin's words grounding them amidst the grandeur. This world will carry the light and shadow of our journey. It's a testament to everything we've learned and everything we still have yet to discover. A quiet promise. As the energy of the Nexus begins to settle, Kael and Rin linger, savoring the quiet moments that follow. The star, now steady and glowing brightly, feels like a beacon, a symbol of their shared effort and their unwavering bond. The vial of bioluminescent essence Rin had given Kael on Larnus begins to glow faintly in response to the Nexus's currents, as if it, too, is celebrating. Rin steps closer to Kael, their voice carrying a blend of joy and wistfulness. "We've crossed paths twice now, Kael. The universe seems determined to bring us together." Kael smiles, their gaze fixed on the star. "And maybe it will again. But the next time, let's not leave it to chance. Let's choose the time and the place." The promise hangs between them, unspoken but deeply felt. As they part ways once more, Rin to continue their study of cosmic flora and Kael to pursue the mysteries of light and shadow, they carry the connection they've rekindled, a thread that remains unbroken, stretching across the stars. Kael, now profoundly transformed by their experiences across the cosmos, departs the Celestial Nexus with a renewed sense of purpose. They leave behind a stabilized star that will one day birth new worlds, carrying the glow of their shared efforts with Rin as a tangible reminder of what they've achieved together. Their parting promise, to meet again by choice and not chance, leaves Kael with the knowledge that even in the vastness of space, bonds of connection endure. As Somnara guides them onward, Kael gazes at the vial of bioluminescent essence from Larnus, its faint light reflecting their journey. They are no longer simply a traveler or a seeker, they are a weaver, threading stories, memories, and balance into the universe. Their legacy becomes a beacon for others, proving that light and shadow, together, create the most meaningful tales. Kael's story does not end here, but expands like the cosmos itself, a living testament to the beauty of connection, creation, and renewal. Thank you for being a part of Calm Cloud Chronicles. What kind of stories help you relax the most? Please let us know in comments below. If you enjoyed this story, let us know by liking, sharing, and subscribing. Until next time, stay peaceful and keep dreaming.